Yo, what's gravy, baby? And you know I hope y'all taking y'all's vitamins. And we're gonna get right into this. Another reaction. But today we're gonna do a little bit different. We're gonna do it if it's okay, y'all ready for this? If it's gonna be dope or if it's gonna be completely all dookie. Alright, let's get into this reaction.
When Vince McMahon proclaimed,
As always, we got my brother, Super Kick Studios. Link in the bio. I'm going to link the video. But as always, let's get straight into it.
aggression era, he asked for the next big star to step up to the table and prove to him they had what it took to carry WWE into the future. It was a time when The Rock and Stone Cold were nearing the end of their time with WWE, and a new generation-defining star was desired. Over in Louisville, Kentucky, was a young John Cena.
Man, I just want to kiss that man. Wait. What did I just... Never mind, just cut that.
Who took up wrestling just because he wanted to try it out, and he ended up signing with WWE Developmental, Ohio Valley Wrestling. WWE's developmental system had...
That's just crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 goats all in one picture.
guys like Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Batista, and of course the prototype John Cena. So you'd have to stand out to really catch someone's eye. But Cena did stand out, and it happened by accident. They were scouting Cena's tag team partner Rico, and Cena caught the eye of everyone with his look and comedic flair. Slowly thereafter, he made his debut, telling Kurt Angle the one quality he possessed that separated him from the rest was ruthless aggression. From here, Cena struggled a bit. In fact, he had been told that he'd be getting his release until he found his way with the Doctor of Thugonomics character. From here, it was only upwards for John Cena. He organically got over as the Doctor of Thugonomics.
Yeah, that man, basically what happened, that man just started spitting on the plane to Stephanie, and Stephanie was like, damn, Cena, you got them bars for a white boy. And she was like, I gotta tell my daddy about this. So she went to go tell her daddy about this, and then, you know, Thugonomics came, and we got the chain gang banging John Cena we love.
Where he just dropped bars on people. As his popularity grew and WWE transitioned their product, he was transitioned into an American patriot. Then he was transitioned to complete babyface John Cena, where the main audience Cena was catering to were children. The guy would main event WrestleManias, star in movies, and grant more Make-A-Wishes than any other celebrity, and solidified himself as one of WWE's biggest stars ever. Through it all, he became WWE's biggest star. No matter what you think of the guy, he was the only one.
Man, he just went on a podcast and said in 2012 or 14, he was so close to turning heel. He made music and everything, but they just didn't want to drop the Make the Wish stuff, which is totally understandable. I just wish we got a heel John Cena, because a heel John Cena would have been fantastic.
Capable of doing what he did for the period he did it. That frankly is not debatable. We're at a time now where we don't see John Cena as much anymore, and for as many haters as he's had, the perception has changed on him. He's seen in that same light as some of the biggest megastars in WWE. But is he the last megastar in WWE?
No.
To Hulk Hogan, to The Rock, and Stone Cold, these competitors transcended their generation. Whether it was Hulkamania running wild, or The Rock and Austin killing it week by week in the Attitude Era, these guys all appeared on different media outlets, commercials, movies, and brought their star power outside the world of pro wrestling to help themselves become bigger stars and promote the company. The Attitude Era was when wrestling was at its peak popularity. It was edgy, it was creative, and it also had a mystique for a lot of people. It's all these factors that made it easier for stars to cross over into the mainstream. Yeah. The thing with back then was you could get away with a lot more. The product had an edge to it, and sadly, people just cared more about pro wrestling. When The Rock and Stone Cold left WWE, A new generation was ushered in during the Ruthless Aggression era. We saw guys like Brock Lesnar, John Cena, and so many others. During the Ruthless Aggression era, the product was still edgy, but not to the extent the Attitude Era was. It was this same time where John Cena was on the rise with his Thugonomics gimmick. Every week Cena would come out and drop bars, make fun of people for being fat, and so many other things that I just can't say. It was funny and he genuinely endeared himself to the crowd. And then,
well, the wrestling world in shock today. Former champion Chris Benoit found dead in his Atlanta home along with his wife and young son
on June 20th.
So, I fell myself into the loophole because I wanted to know what this was about, and I didn't really understand it as a kid, but I understand it now, and it's some very, very dark stuff in there. Like, it's dark.
7th, 2007, the Chris Benoit tragedy took place. This painted pro wrestling in a very dark light. People were afraid to let their kids watch wrestling because of the barbaric nature and how much coverage this incident had. WWE was forced to make a decision. They had to cater to families again and say, yes, we're a family-friendly program, and what happened does not represent the company's value. So they transitioned to a PG-rated product. A lot of people say that turning WWE PG is what ruined the product. Well, that's a debate for another day. Them turning WWE PG...
Right, whenever they turned them PG, that's whenever I started watching, basically. And to be honest, I liked it. I loved it. I just fell off in 2015, but the pandemic era made me fall back in love with it.
Also meant that they had to change the way their characters behaved on screen. So a lot of that edge that was left in the Ruthless Aggression era was almost completely gone. This made it harder to establish characters because they were limited to what they could do, opposed to before when they could walk the line or even cross it. It stripped away everything that made wrestling... wrestling. As for John Cena, he was being pushed as the big star in WWE. His character changed too. He was the poster child for this change. He was the one who was appealing to the kids. He was the one doing the make-a-wishes for the company. He was the one appearing on TV shows. And he was the one this new generation was built on. If you grew up in the 2000s and witnessed John Cena in the earlier days, chances are you have a great place in your heart for him and he won you over as a fan. It was this blend of Cena winning over us kids who watched him in the Ruthless Aggression era, mixed with him winning over younger kids who grew up in the PG era, that added to his star power. That made him the star that he was. He carried fans he made in the Ruthless Aggression era into the PG era, then used the PG era
That return was so iconic. So iconic.
To build even more fans, because there were simply just more people watching wrestling. Like I mentioned before, more people were watching wrestling. More people had eyeballs on John Cena. So this mixture of people that he connected from 2003 to 2013 is where he made the most impact. When WWE made this transition, WWE marketed John Cena perfectly as the guy who could do no wrong and had no quit. Kids got behind him because that's what they were presented, and he executed it very well. Fans during this time said that John Cena's character was at the worst it had ever been. People were dying for a change because they were sick and tired of the same old copy-paste formula. During this time, WWE expanded their viewership even more, and people from different countries became aware of the name John Cena. He'd be on posters, trading cards, clocks, perfumes. He was even a damn garden gnome. There was so much...
What the fuck is that, bro? What the fuck is that?
Marketing behind Cena, and his appeal became global. When people thought of WWE, they thought of John Cena. John Cena simply transcended WWE in a way that only he could, and that's not debatable. When you put stock into something, it's up to them to deliver, and he did. People would hear wrestling, and the first thing that would come to mind was John Cena.
Fact.
He brought in a mixture of outside viewers, goodwill, and above all else, eyes to the product. But a few years ago, when he started to transition to a part-time schedule, his star power only became more appreciated, and WWE didn't know what to do when he started appearing.
I miss you, John. I miss you, boy. Come home.
Less and less. In late 2015 to early 2016, John Cena had transitioned to a part-time schedule. He had done everything he could and brought WWE to great heights and places in the world that they had never been. It's around this time when WWE started to find their next star. As the product had restrictions, it became tough for people to organically break out, even though some did. WWE were restricted in what they could make these guys say and do. They failed to capture that genuine star aura and just started fast-tracking people. Here's where Roman Reigns comes into the mixture. Roman Reigns was being presented as the next John Cena. He was the guy Vince McMahon believed had the ability, look, and mainstream appeal to carry the company forward. Plus, Vince knew that he had ties with one of his greatest stars, that being The Rock. Fans knew what WWE were trying to do and immediately hijacked the whole situation, to the point that Cena had to come back full time for a little bit because they were missing that guy that people tuned in every week to see. And I don't think Cena's void has been filled ever since he transitioned to a part-time schedule.
Because who else could be sexier, bro? Just look at that jawline.
And I don't know if it ever will. When I ask wrestling fans, is John Cena wrestling's final megastar, a majority will agree that he is, and he's the last household name. There is a portion, however, that bring Roman Reigns' name into the mixture. The turbulent road that Roman Reigns has had to get to where he is now has been well documented, and he's hitting his peak right now. It's amazing, but I think there's a deeper rooted problem here. When John Cena was carrying WWE and bringing it mainstream popularity, yeah, John Cena was the big guy on the posters and the merchandise, but programming wise, he had someone to deliver with to get you entrenched in the product.
Love that,
Cena
man.
had Randy. If not Randy, he had Edge. If not Edge, he had CM Punk. If not him, there was a roster filled with other great characters that John Cena could construct a personal and engaging feud with. For Roman, who does he have? Seth Rollins is the closest name that comes to mind, and even he's...
Bro, why was Shawn Michaels holding on for dear life in that photo?
been middling at best of late. WWE has done a poor job of building stars, and even if Roman Reigns is their big star, it's like, well, who else? It's also the amount of time it's taken Reigns to get to where he is, and it took a lot of work. John Cena, 6 years into his career, had organically gotten himself over with fans. Roman Reigns is in his 6th full year of singles competition, and only now have fans really started to warm up to him. Them struggling to build him up is twofold. The first is social media. When Cena was carrying WWE, sure, social media was around, but never to the extent it is today. Nowadays, people want to go with the status quo. When they saw Reigns getting pushed, people were like, no, we're gonna reject this guy, and then other people hopped on the bandwagon. Why? Because it was the cool thing to do, and it was the social media influence. The second is simply, people are not watching wrestling as much as before. It's that smaller viewership which is the cause of people rejecting new stars, because that smaller viewership are the hardcores who want it their way. People always say The Rock. They always
wrestling is booming.
Bring his name into the conversation when it comes to Roman Reigns. And while I agree when that match does happen, it's gonna bring a lot of eyes to Roman Reigns. What's he gonna do until then? You have to bring in guys like Cena and Lesnar to continue to build a guy like Reigns, because the fact of the matter is, that roster is very talented, but there is a severe lack of top tier stars and characters. I understand his appeal in markets like India, people love him there, but say the name Roman Reigns to an everyday person, they'll have no clue who that is. I'm not saying Roman Reigns could never get to that point, it only takes a couple of marquee feuds and moments to get to that point, but where are those feuds and moments? I asked in my community poll the other day and people said Roman Reigns. I try to remain as objective as I can in these videos, but no, Roman Reigns is nowhere close to the star John Cena was at the same point in his career. And it's simple, people are not watching as much. It took a heel turn to get Reigns over and sway a majority of fan opinion in a different direction for him. It's not anything he did over the past few years, but simply a smart decision that was made.
Okay. We're gonna end the video. So, on my final ranking score today, guys, we're gonna give it a dope. And the reason why is because it was a dope ass video. It was a banger. But also, I'm gonna have to disagree because we have hindsight. Because Roman Reigns is on another level. Cody Rhodes is on another level. The WWE in general is on another level now. So, is it WWE's final megastar? No, not at all. I can think of 3 people that could break out, slap a championship on LA Knight, and I bet everybody's gonna be chanting, you know it, LA Knight, yeah. Alright, guys, I'll see y'all later. Y'all stay cool. Keep it gravy, baby.